Well, happy Sunday morning, one and all. Welcome to the informal Intrepid radio program for Sunday mornings called It's Sunday. That was the best title I could come up with when we were devising it a few years ago. And I appreciate everybody that shows up on Sunday. If you're not doing anything, if you're not a regular churchgoer or you've stayed home from church, or you're an atheist or a Buddhist or whatever you might be, you are welcome to the show. And this is not, for those of you who are regulars here, this is not the regular Intrepid radio program. This is our Sunday morning informal coffee time. And today, I'm going to make sure you all know up front here, I'm going to be probably a little shorter with the show today. I have a a couple of tattoos to do this afternoon. And if they are still on for today, we haven't talked all week, which is funny. But John and Bree, my old friends, our old neighbors, they're both coming over for a little tat job today. And so if that's still on the books for today, I was having some problem. If any of you out there are tattoo artists, I was having a little problem with my papers. And you know how you transfer a tattoo if you're not drawing it freehand on somebody, you print it off onto these carbon sheets. And it's got carbon, and you put a solution on the arm or wherever you're placing the tattoo, and then you take the stencil and put it on there, and it adheres, and that's your guide as you're going into needles. And this is this the final? This is not one of the final, but I was having problems with the stencil showing details, and so we ordered new paper this week, and that new paper was just as bad. So I'm starting to think, is it the printer I have? It's a thermal printer that you run these stencils through. And so I finally got, with tinkering and tampering and all of that, I got a relatively decent image for John's tattoo. And that's it. And then we stencil that on him and we go. But because we had paper problems, they were supposed to get their tattoos last week. And I had to put it off because I had to order new supplies and say there's something wrong with the stencils. So we'll see what happens. Good morning, Steph Cuervo Queen. Good to see you this morning. And Kevin Miller. I don't know if you're all still here. Thank you for being here. I see a bunch of you here, so you must be in the numbers. So if you are listening over on Instagram this morning, you can come over to the YouTube channel. It's not that you can't watch the show just fine over on Instagram, but if you come on over to the YouTube channel, you can join the chat room if you want. I see Ellie Fair is over in the Instagram. If you're still there, come on over to the YouTube channel. I'd love to have you call in and come on in this morning. I think that'd be fantastic. Sure miss your face. And Ellie Fair is a good friend of mine from a long time ago. We haven't seen each other face to face in years. So I think the last time, Ellie, if you're still there, you can correct me. We met at the Stanley Hotel at a Ghost Hunters event back in 2007. And we've been friends ever since. And I think the last time we saw each other face to face was at the Sauk Center, the little hotel out here in western Minnesota, back when it was 30 below zero in January. I think we saw each other then, and I'm not sure if we have since then. And that had to be 2009 or 10 or 11. We've talked many times over the years. But so if you're still there, come on over to the YouTube channel. And you can call in, and we can talk. Hey, Claudette, good to see you this morning. And JP is here per usual, he says. Welcome to the program. Steph says, I need more ink. Just because you're talking about it. My last one was in August. Hey, Steph, I'll ink you. So if you like what you see as I keep going on here, and you like the things I do, we'll get it set up and we'll do it. So I look forward to doing that. Hey, grab your coffee. Cheers, everyone. Speaking of cheer, got to sit all day yesterday in the cheerleading competitions, for my 9-year-old, very soon to be 10-year-old, Ellery, was her squad from Somerset Elementary School was representing themselves at the cheer competitions. And that's where parents get to go and for 6 to 7 hours sit on bleachers in a gymnasium and watch 300 little kids you don't know do their bits, and then the 6 minutes that your kid gets on. So there it is. Steph, I would be honored if you would allow me to ink your skin. That would be fantastic. So I'm still honing my skins, my real skins, I should say. I'm still doing what I call skinny pigs because I'm going from the fake skin to real skin now, and it is different. And you'd think if you know how to draw a picture, which I do, I've been drawing pictures professionally for 40 years now. You'd think it would be an easy flip over. It's just knowing the tool. It's knowing what needle to use to get what line, desired line, what depth, what frequency that you set your needle to, and so on. It's all those things. It's getting in there to stretching the skin as you do it to make sure, not stretching it so much that when you let go, it distorts, but just you got to flatten out the skin and all of that stuff. I did my son Sam, as you all know. I don't think he was very good. I'm going to be touching it up because it was all verbiage, and he had to put right here on his chest, up high on the left side of his chest, and it just needs touch up. It was my very first one. So, and John and Bree, maybe today. I haven't heard back from them as a confirmation for today because we haven't talked for a week about it. But he was actually here. John came here to get his done, and we had the screw ups with the stencil. So we had to postpone him. So that's coming up. And that's all I got to say about that. And cheer yesterday. Raini and I got home. Do you know when you start to get a little older, meaning not elderly by any means? Raini's 20 years younger than me, but you sit on a bench with no back to it in a bleacher for 6 hours with occasional breaks to get up and stretch and walk around because you're like, oh, I better get up now and walk around or I'm not going to be able to get up at the end. So it's exhausting. What are the things that exhaust you when you're younger? It's running around, it's playing sports, it's doing all this, doing all that. When you're older, what exhausts you? Sitting on a bleacher for 6 hours. So we were both kind of a little out of it at the end of the day. Not so out of it we couldn't function or communicate. It was just like, ugh, I'm done today. I'm baked. Yeah, what got you today? Bleachers. Too much bleacher. So, yeah, when I was young, I was just thinking of this yesterday. As you're sitting there sometimes mindlessly staring at a school you don't even know existed somewhere 50 miles from you, and kids you don't know, and you're just glossed over staring, you got all kinds of time to think. And so I was thinking, man, when I was in my 20s and I was weightlifting and all of that, we used to regularly play racquetball. Anybody play racquetball out there anymore? We had racquetball courts at the gym where I belonged in. And so sometimes you'd have friends come over and you'd play racquetball. Other times you'd just go over there with your racket and you'd say, who wants to play? And the people waiting for an opponent. And so we had our skills honed pretty well. And, in racquetball, you're doing an awful lot of stretching and diving and it's like tennis against a wall. If you don't know what it is, you're in a cube and you're playing that way. I don't think I could do that right now unless I took a year to get in shape. No lithe musculature. Sometimes yesterday, getting up from the bleachers, stretching, walking to the main lobby of the school to get a soda, and you're like, oh, damn, my legs hurt. That was excruciating. So that's why you bring a bleachers cushion. That's what I said to Raini yesterday. There was a couple in front of us that had the little bleacher cushions with the fold up arms and back. You could sit there and hey, where's the wait staff? So I said, we got to invest in some of those because there's more than just cheer that we go to. Steph loves racquetball. However, my body does not, she says. Bruises don't heal very fast when you're purposely try to hit your opponent for fun. Yeah. I've run into a few walls playing racquetball. I don't think I've played racquetball since my late 20s. I had the gym, the health club, one of those big corporate conglomerate health clubs. I don't remember what the name was, but I actually found my old ID. It was a photo ID for that club. U.S. Swim and Fitness was the name of the place. and they had your picture, and I had a full head of dark hair and smiles and all of that, and those were the days. And I actually got to go out with one of the trainers there once. She walked by. I was working on Nautilus machines, and I was doing leg work. And so I was sitting and I was doing the quads, for your quads, your upper thighs. And she walks by and she goes, "Oh, nice quads." And I go, "Same to you." So, and we went out on a date or two, something like that. So, and that's all that was. But I wasn't there strutting my stuff. I was there trying to stay in shape. That's what I need to do now. If I had time to go to the health club, I go to the health club. That was back before I had kids. So my 20s, way back. How about you guys? How do you stay in shape? What do you do to stay in shape? I've got to, now I'm at that place in life where, I got to tone, yes. I got to lose some weight, yes. But I've got like that lower abdomen fat where you go, I didn't birth no babies. Why do I have that? And, meaning, not a slam, just meaning that women have a tougher time with that part of their body because they've gained weight to give birth. And sometimes they have to struggle to get that back into shape. And I'm like, I didn't give birth to anybody. Why do I have that? So I keep being told, well, it's all diet. If you just controlled your diet. And I go, yeah, I know that. Thank you. Yeah, that kind of stuff, the flabby rolls, and you walk past the mirror when on your way to bed, the full body mirror, and you go, oh, that was me. So, I guess I don't have to turn heads anymore at my age, my marital status, and my status as an encroaching grandfather, though there's nothing out there. Nobody's having kids, and none of my kids are having kids yet. So still not a grandpa. Racquetball, it was great. Yeah, we had a good time with it. So there's a lot to talk about today that smacks political. But I would say, I like to say about politics that we're just talking current events. We're talking about the stuff that's going on. And it's very interesting. There's something I had heard on the news this morning that I did repost it to my Facebook. The big fraud trial that Trump went through in New York for supposedly devaluing or overvaluing his properties to get a bank loan. Well, he was found guilty of that and fined $500 million, something like that. Well, of course, he appealed that, but he still had to pay for it. And was that the Letitia James case? No, is she Georgia? Which one is no, Georgia's the whack job one. So Letitia James in New York. And so it finally appeared before the appellate courts. And this isn't brand new. This was in the last few weeks, I think, maybe the last couple of months. The appellate court, pretty much after hearing the case, the main argument ended with the Democrat prosecutors pleading with the court to not sanction them. And that's how that ended up. So that was all thrown out. Trump's going to get his money back. The appellate court, what is their purpose? An appellate court is there to listen to your appeal to a decision that was previously made and to determine whether or not the case was valid or whether it should be retried and they could hear the case all over again. So the appellate judges, on a couple of instances, they stopped and gave the prosecution, and I will emphasize this, the Democrat prosecutors gave them a couple of hours each time for each question to try to look up precedents. And they asked questions like, so in this case, you're bringing hey, Brianna. Good morning, Brianna. Brianna, we shall call her. So are you guys still coming over today? Or do we have to reschedule? It's fine either way with me. Just let me know what you can do. We haven't talked in a few days. So So what happened in this appellate court? The judges asked the question, um, is there any historical precedence for bringing a case like this when the defendant contacted the people that were supposedly defrauded, the bank, and the bank came back and said there was no defrauding. He paid back everything plus interest, as he'd done 21 times before that. So, yeah, they should be disbarred, Randall. They should be. And they asked a couple of questions along those lines. We never got the chance. Oh, here we go. Bree, sorry, folks. Doing personal business here on the show today. Trying to figure it out this morning. We never got the chance to look at my car Friday or yesterday. Heat's not working on the passenger side of the car. My manifold is leaking. My manifold is leaking all the time. So it's age. So anyway, that's okay. Bree, if you guys don't have time today, that's fine, because I've got new transfer paper to order. The second time I've ordered new transfer paper. I've heard that there is a better transfer paper, which is going to pick up the details. Right now, Bree, if you look at the screen here, I'll show you this. This is all the better, and this is after many tweaks on this. This is the best that my transfer paper would render John's tattoo. Now, that's the most detail I was able to get on this thing. And so it's not good. I can fill in the blanks, but that'd be like me sitting there. Yours is going to be easy, Bree. It's yours. You've got an easy line thing to do. John's is a little more difficult, and I just want to make sure I'm doing it right. So if you guys would rather wait until I have supposedly the better paper, at least it was way more expensive paper. I ordered that from a different outfit altogether, and I have heard it is the best to get. We'll see how that works. If you want to wait till, and we'll do it sometime this week. So like last week, I know you had some open time, and you got me when I didn't have the open time. So let's check it out and see how it's going to work. There's my personal business, folks, being conducted right here on this show. She's interesting, but yeah, maybe we should wait again. I'm excited to see mine. Me too. Where did you want that put again? Youch. So, let's see. When they first came over and we first met, John and Bree, about the tats a few weeks ago, Bree walked into my studio. I've got a big round table out in the middle there. And she sat down and she slapped her arm down and she goes, "Here you go." And I said, "Well, let's figure out what you want." So, yeah, we'll see. I have yet to draw yours up, Bree, but it's pretty easy to do. I may have to talk to you again to refresh my memory on some of the things that you want to see in it. So we'll do that instead. So I will let you guys off the hook today. Don't try to squeeze it in. That gives me I think it's another day or two before I'll see the brand new second order of transfer paper coming in. So, and by the way, anybody else out there, you want to be a skinny pig? If you live out of state and you want to fly up here, you might want to wait maybe until you see how I'm doing on skin. You've seen the fake skins I've done, and you know my illustrative abilities. So we'll just see what you think, and we'll be open to do things pretty soon. I still have to get licensed in Wisconsin, so I have to house this all under. I'm not charging you anything. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you want to tip, you can tip. I don't have an official studio here. We are sanitary. Raini's making sure I'm minding all my P's and Q's. And eventually here we have to open up a little shop somewhere that's not in the downstairs of our house, right through the door to my bedroom. So that gives a skank quality to my tattooing. Here, come in here, and you got to pass through my bedroom first. I want a thigh tattoo as well. You got one. Oh, yeah, that exact spot, too. Yes. So, in that exact spot and a thigh tattoo. We've got to work that up for you. Let's see what you want. All right. So, there's that. Business out of the way. So, back to this thing on Trump. So, the appellate court pretty much said, we have found that there are no grounds for having brought this case in the first place. Other than, I think one of the questions asked, so you're saying to us, they're asking the Democrat prosecutor, you're saying to us that the only viable reason that you thought this case should be brought against Donald Trump is because he was running for office, which violates all sorts of other laws. And he had the Democrat prosecutors pretty much whimpering at the end, figuratively speaking. I didn't see videos, but I could imagine these guys were pretty much pleading with the court to not sanction them and disbar them. So it's very interesting what that side of the equation tried to do to present the now president-elect from ever running. So there you go. That's one thing I saw this morning. I thought that was interesting. I've got to get my facts out on that. Jim said, James McMichael, how you doing, James? He said he did see the video and they're very scared. They should be. Isn't it also, James, you probably know this too, aren't they, there's something with Smith and doing his thing against Trump on the January 6th stuff and all that his thing is going to get, he's pretty much had to drop everything he wanted to do. There's another one where the case was dropped. Now that he's president, they're dropping the case. So Letitia James is not going to slow down. No, she's not. She's going to go full force at him. Yeah, she's going to keep going. I think hopefully she gets reprimanded by the court. So I have a lot of friends who's looking at going after him. They are looking at going after him also. Who's that? Going after Smith? Yeah, I hope so. And people are going to say, oh, this is the Donald Trump revenge tour. No, it's not. It's Donald Trump saying these are the things that should be prosecuted. These are the things that we should close up these loopholes. You can't just do this to somebody to try to prevent them from running for office. Brianna said, I'm lost. I joined late. Yeah, the appellate court on his fraud case has been overturned. He's going to have his $500 million returned to him. That's the one where they said he overvalued his property to get a loan. Well, he brought the bank in. What did Donald Trump do? He went right to the person who's supposed to be the most hurt in this, the bank, and they testified on his behalf or said something. And I don't know if they were allowed to test. I don't know what exactly happened with that. But they came back and said, it doesn't matter what the value of his property was. He's paid back with interest 21 loans to us. We were willing to signature only sign the loan. He just went through the procedure. James McMichael says, the precedent set by the Supreme Court, they cannot prosecute him now. Yeah. The courts in New York has stated they are not interested in prosecuting a sitting president. So I don't know. Maybe they will when he's 82, when he's done. I don't know. So who knows what's going to happen next with this lot. I think the beautiful thing that you see about the election is that we are, yes, to steal a line from Kamala Harris, we're turning the page. We're turning the page on wokeism. We're turning the page on this apparatus that was established to try to prevent one person from running for office because they didn't like him. I keep hearing people calling him, well, somebody would answer a question to me on the financial status or something, or Trump's taxes or his tariffs or something. Well, the rapist in chief, they'd start. And I say, you know what? You lost me right there. I said, because I disagree with you. I said, I happen to know how this stuff works. I said, you don't become a rapist. Well, yeah, you can. You can become a rapist 30 years later, but something that happened 30 years ago, and Trump says he doesn't even know who the person was. She wins $98 million from him in a civil trial. The criminal trial just said, well, there's no grounds for rape, but we're going to say that Trump was, I forget the exact legal terminology they used, but that he is liable for sexual misconduct. And they left it at that based on nothing. There is no evidence. All there is her saying it happened. So then you go to the civil trial. Somebody said, well, civil trials can go further than a criminal trial. And, he was found to be a rapist and, but they couldn't say that and whatever. Hey, Susie Q, welcome to the show. Yeah, this is it. Randall Flagg. She didn't remember any of it either. She didn't even know what year it happened. And my understanding, and somebody correct me on this if I'm wrong, I stated this to somebody because I had heard it and I didn't research it. So I opened my mouth too soon without researching it. But I said, hasn't she done this to other wealthy dudes? It's happened before where she's brought charges. Now, am I wrong about that, or is that somebody speculating that I heard? If you know about that, let me know. Didn't they prove that the dress that she said she wore wasn't even manufactured until later years? Maybe. I don't even remember that point. So, so all of this stuff is, pardon the pun, it's trumped up. The reason they were seeking a felony charge against Donald Trump, they didn't care what it was for. All they wanted to be able to do was call him a felon. They didn't care what the crime was. They didn't even care if anybody was actually injured. All they cared was if they could get a conviction and be able to call him a convicted felon prior to the election, which they did, and which prompted great T-shirt campaigns. I'm voting for the felon. So there is so much to unload in all this stuff. And people say, well, he can't be innocent of it all. Everything that he's charged with, you got an excuse for. No, I'm saying everything he was charged with on those levels was fake. It was incomplete. It was an attempt to discredit a person running for office. That's how much they were afraid of him getting into office. So, and now, did you hear the news? We all know Trump won it wasn't a landslide, I was going to say, it was a mandate, meaning she still had like 72 or 70 million votes to his 74 million votes. And that's gone up. It was 62, I thought, and I just saw 72 or 70, and I might be wrong. However, he had about a 5 to 10 million vote lead in the popular vote. So he won the popular vote. Then he won the electoral vote. But now, just last night, here, Rush Limbaugh, news flash. Here in my formerly nicotine-stained fingers, I hold the report from last night that Arizona's vote has finally come in. Trump took Arizona. And popular vote and electoral vote. He was now up to, I believe it's 317, or was it 321 electoral votes when you need 270 to win. So it just keeps building. Some of the states, they said they thought he lost. He didn't lose. James says, it was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. And this is true. It was. And that's all bloodbath ever meant, by the way. If you heard all the left going, caterwauling, I use the term bloodbath. It's a financial term. It's a Wall Street term. That this company is going to take a bloodbath on this stock or whatever it is. So that's all it was. Mm. Yeah, they were predicting like 304, but he got up to 370. He is currently right now, I believe. Here, let's see. Let's see if Siri will do her work for me. Hey Siri, what is the final electoral vote count for the presidential election?
I found this on the web.
I found this on the web. Live results. Let's see. Presidential results. Let's see what it says. It says as of right now, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's the New York Times. It doesn't let me ever look at anything, really. It pops it up and then a thing comes up. You have to subscribe to look at this. So let's see. I'll see if I can find this for you, or somebody else can. I think he's at 317. Final electoral vote. Oh, sure. Misspell electoral. Let's see. Even CNN has it up. They have Trump at 312, but that was before Arizona, I do believe. They've still got stripes through Arizona on their map, meaning they haven't put it in since last night. But in it says Donald Trump in Arizona had 52.6% of the vote. Kamala Harris had 46.4%. So there you go. Oh, and just so you know, Jill Stein, Green Party, got 0.5% of the vote in Arizona. So I believe that electoral has gone up to 317. If somebody will look that up and just verify my facts on that, that would be fantastic. I keep hitting buttons that I'm not trying to hit. There we go. 226 to 312 after Arizona. Okay. So he's at 312. I thought I saw on the news this morning they had it up there at 317. I'm wrong. Mark this day. I'm never wrong, and when I am, that's usually a mistake. So he won the popular vote. I mean, really, that's amazing. Yeah, for the first time in a long time, he won the popular vote. He won the electoral vote. He's won the Senate and the House. I know there's still a little iffy on a couple of those races, but I'm pretty sure it's all going to turn toward Trump, which means when he enters office in January, he's going to have a Congress that supports what he does, at least for 2 years. So, James says it was the morning whiskey. What's that song? All for the whiskey, me boys. I can't think of the song now, but I can't think of the tune. But it's a great song. Let's see what else we got in there. What are people saying? Let's hope, Randall. Randall says VA and New Jersey look winnable again in the future. There it is. Very possibly. Now, what's Trump going to have to do over the next 4 years? Prove to the American people that he deserved to get what they just gave him. And what's this mean for the Democrats? The Democrats have to start revamping. Their message is off. And I think this election proved the point that America doesn't want wokeism. America wants a country that works. America wants the United States, citizens want the United States to be a superpower again. And we are already. We're already, because of President-elect, we're already being reviewed again by the world as a superpower. The world will respect us when we are strong. When we have lacked the ability to take the status as superpower or leader of the free world, it's because our leadership was not strong. You need strong leadership for the world to follow. The world needs a strong America. The world needs America to be a superpower. So there you go. Yeah, all these other countries are run by Marxists, says Steph. And you're right about that. I'm loving the blame game, says James McMichael. The Dems are playing. They're turning on each other like rabid dogs. I've noticed that. All the people turning on each other. Well, it wasn't my fault. It was. I know I said this, but it was his fault. That's so. And you know what I also find very interesting is that all the calls from the Democrat Party, up from Kamala Harris to Biden himself to Tim Walz, who's Tim who again? He's going to fade into obscurity, even though he's the governor of Minnesota. I would bet you dimes to donuts he is not going to win a re-election over there again. But I could be wrong. But you had all these leaders of our country, I use that in quotation marks, calling Trump horrible, deplorable, insane, deranged. That was Kamala's, one of her favorite ones. They called him a fascist. They called him Hitler. They did all of this stuff, and they're pushing that agenda. Now, skip for one moment, step aside from that, and ask, if you knew there was a leader that's going to be a Hitler and rule as a Hitler, what would you do? Spam? I get spam. I get 20 spam calls a day. Thank goodness my phone company calls out spam. So if you knew somebody was going to be a Hitler, what did Hitler do? The genocide, of course, that he imposed. The final solution. Annexing the countries around him. What did he do? With the leadership we had calling Trump all of these things, now what did you have Biden do? He kind of ran out to the podium. Did you see that the other day? Runs out, kind of does his little 82-year-old, I'm going to jog for 3 feet, and smiles, and he gets up there and he says, now's the time for peace, and now's the time for us. He says, I'm going to promise that our administration will give Donald Trump a smooth, clean, he didn't say friendly, I can't remember all the words he used, transition. We will help in any way to make this go smoothly. But this is the guy they were calling Hitler 2 weeks ago. If that's not telling about the Democrat rhetoric, nothing is. Haven't seen much from Kamala Harris the last few days either, have you? Yes, daughter, what can I do for you?
Is there something you wanted Ellery to clean?
What?
Was there something you wanted Ellery
Living room.
to clean?
But I don't think John and Bree are coming today. So I think they've got some other stuff they got to tend to. That's they're finding a lack of time, and so we'll probably just reschedule this week. But don't tell Ellery that. I still want that living room floor swept and everything folded up, all the blankets everybody's got out there and stuff. All right, thank you. Yeah, she drunk in her basement, says James McMichael. I don't doubt it, and I don't say that to mock her. Look, you can look at some of the biblical stories. Remember the flood story? Does anybody remember what Noah did after the flood? Anybody remember? This is after the flood, God's miraculous wiping out of this of the wickedness on the earth, which, by the way, was not mankind. This is linked to the Nephilim story, but that's for another day. Wipes it out. Noah plants a vineyard, and then once the grapes are ready, he stomps them out and gets drunk. So you've just ridden a boat full of animals through a worldwide catastrophe and come out alive and saw the rainbow at the end. What are you going to do next? It wasn't go to Disney World. It was, I'm having me some wine. So, yeah, great book, Scotty, says James McMichael. What if Kamala Harris went and tipped a few back, I don't blame her. I don't agree with her. I never agreed with anything she did. I think she got exactly what she deserved, which was nothing out of this. She did have almost 70 million people vote for her, though. Who are those people? What the hell were you thinking? Let me say this before I get on more talking about getting the drunk on, is that people voted for her on singular issues. I've been more chastised by people for voting for Trump because it's a death sentence for women's rights, women's reproductive rights. I'm going to tell you something. Women already have reproductive rights. You can reproduce all you want. Now, are there limitations on things? Yes. There's limitations on everything. We have laws in this country. But it's my body and it's my choice. Well, what about the body that's inside of you? That's not your body. It needs your body for nourishment. But let's not get into that argument. I'm not even going to go there. But reproductive rights, it's like women have no rights anymore. Well, that's so much bullshit. But that's my take. I had a friend of mine who is gay. Ladies, it'd kill you. The whole time, I've known him for almost 40 years, 35 years. And he was always a good looking man, and he's ripped. He's always a weightlifter and all of that. Ripped, and he's an artist. He's a fantastic artist. He's a sculptor and a painter. And he did work for Marvel Comics. Back when I met him, he had done some work for Marvel Comics, and has over the years. He's a phenomenal person, and I really like him. And he came in and it was my post, I think, that said, all it said was Donald Trump, popular and electoral, period. House and Senate, period. I'm happy to be an American today, period. That's all it said. And he right away was criticizing. We haven't talked much in years. We bump into each other every now and then at events, like the big Comic-Cons and things like that. And he was very critical of me right away. I think he was being polite to start with. But he ended up by saying that he disagreed with me, that the person I voted for is a death sentence for them, or something to that kind of rhetoric. And I did talk back and forth in open on that post. You can go watch and look at it if you want on my Facebook. And I said, well, I don't see it that way. I see it as this. And I said, this is where I came up with the illustration. I said, look, I said, if my house is burning down, is that the appropriate time to sit on the sofa in the living room while the curtains are burning and the ceiling's ablaze, and have my kids argue with me about their allowance or their curfews or what the rules of the house are going to be? No. You get everybody out of the burning house. You get the fire put out and you rebuild. You do whatever you have to do. Then that's the appropriate time to look at those little issues. I said, now, I said to my friend, I said, that's a lame example. I said, it's a weak example, but it's a word picture. And he came back and said, yeah, it is a weak example. And I said, my point is that if you have a special interest topic, women's rights, gay rights, trans rights, whatever they might be, they're all worth looking at, and they're all worth dealing with, whether you agree with them or not. That's what our country is supposed to do. But do you put that before making sure your economy is stable? Do you put that before making sure immigration is stable, your borders are secure? What are the things that a nation needs to do before you get into those issues? Are they important issues? Less important to me than my friend, but they're very important to him. So elect people or push to have this thing brought back into the fore and legislate it if it needs legislation at all. Same with women's rights. What do women need to have? Is it just the right to abort a baby? Is that really what's at the core? That right already exists. There might be some states that don't allow it. That doesn't mean you can't go across the border and have it done over there, which a lot of people do. And it's a state's issue, and the states have the right to determine. It's a medical issue. Women want to make it's a my body issue. James McMichael says, I'm gay as hell and voted for Trump. There you go. That's all right. And so my friend basically told me I was being arrogant. I don't remember the words he used. Well, I'm just being arrogant, and I think that my word is the final word on everything. He says, obviously. And he was still being somewhat polite, but he was being damning in that sense, meaning he wasn't using stupid language. He was using good language to get his point across. But he said, you just think you're right about everything. I said, let me correct you on that. I said, I don't think I'm right about everything, but I said, just like you, I have my points of view. And I'm presenting my opinion, just like you are presenting here. I said, why is what I'm doing any different than what you're doing, except we're on different ends of the issue? And I said, I'm not against your issue. I'm just against that being the thing I should have voted for the president on. That's a singular issue. And I realize it's very important to you and your community. But it is not more important to me than the economy and that our country regaining status in the world and rebuilding. So, yeah, Steph says, right, James, you're gay, not stupid. There you go. Exactly. And so my answer to my friend was, well, look, I said, why don't you come on my show? Let's have an open discussion about what your concerns are. I would love to have you come on and present them. I may disagree with you on some things, but that's okay. Let's have an open conversation. I said, if you think I just think I'm right and you're wrong and I'm arrogant because of that, well, you think you're right and that I'm wrong. Is that arrogance too? Let's bring it on the show. Let's talk about it in the open. I haven't heard back from him on that. That was a couple of days ago. So, yeah, because you're a woman, you're now stupid according to the left. Yes. So, yeah, and Susie Q, you're one of those non-college educated white women. So these are the things that bother me about the election. Now, did we caterwaul and complain when Biden won? Yeah. There was a big thing for a long time on saying that Trump was that the election was illegitimate, and that's a legitimate argument to have. It's okay to have that. Social media made it so that if you talked about it, you could get banned. I don't know what the stance is today. I don't know if that's any different now. I do know I've had posts removed lately that says we removed your post because it violated our community standards. One of them was a tarot reading. If you go to my Facebook, you'll see it. I posted this yesterday. And I put up a link to the reading. Or I didn't put up the link anymore. I put up the video I had of it that went to the link. And the raw video. And it was just tarot reading on the moon card. And which says, the moon card basically states you might feel like it's nightmares. You're going through a tough time right now. You can't see clearly. But if you stop and slow down, let your eyes adjust, you'll get better clarity. When you're out in the dark and the full moon is out, I've driven my car down, and I even used this in the reading. I said, when I lived way out in the country, we'd come home late from, I worked at the ad agency, and we'd have late nights sometimes. And I drove in 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and it was pitch black out, except there was a full moon. I could drive down that vacant country highway. I would turn off my headlights for a second just to see what it looked like. And I was like, hey, and I tried it for about a minute. I drove down the highway, the backcountry highway, without any lights because the light of the full moon was so bright I could see. And so I said, the moon can give you clarity, but sometimes you got to stop, slow down, adjust your eyes to the light of the moon. I said, if you feel like you're in a dark place right now, I said, let your eyes adjust. Give it some time. And guess what? The full moon goes dark again. You could be in the dark. Or the full moon is also cyclical, which means this dark period is cyclical for you. So that's the kind of thing that the reading said. And it got taken down from Facebook, probably because somebody reported it. That's another thing about social media, especially Facebook. All somebody has to do is report it, anonymously report your post, and they'll pull it before they review it. And then you can request a review, which I've done on that. But I reposted it in a different way, so it's up there now. Hi, what are you doing with the rubber gloves?
Cleaning the bathroom.
All right, clean that bathroom. Get a toothbrush up and get down in all the corners and stuff. It's gross.
Do you like my shirt?
Here, hold on. What's that say? 2024 Raptor Cheer Challenge. The Raptors was the team of the school that was sponsoring it this year.
That's
So it's
our
a cool
logo.
design.
That's
That's
our
your logo right in the middle.
Yeah.
Actually, that's your old logo. Look at this, folks. You see what that is? You see that helmet there? I said to somebody a few years back at the school, I said, why are you using a Roman helmet when Somerset is the Somerset Spartans? So that's not a Spartan helmet. That's a Roman helmet. They're like, oh. Well, then they changed the logo. They updated the logo a couple of years ago. So I was glad they did that.
We got 6th place yesterday.
But that's the old logo.
Yeah.
So they don't even use this one anymore.
We got 6th place yesterday.
6th place. 6th place. That's way better than 7th place.
Well, last year, we got 3rd place, and then we got 6th place again because on the 3rd one girl didn't know where to go. So
Yay,
she was
Ellie,
just
says
standing.
Susie Q.
So she was just standing in the middle of the mat, all confused. And then on the U of M one, we also got.
Hey guys, I have an impromptu treat for you. Let me move this screen back a little bit so it picks up more of the room. Ellie is going to show you a quick cheer move. Show us the cheer from yesterday. You don't have to jump all over. There's not a lot of room. Whoa. Did you touch your forehead with that foot?
No.
Watch this again, folks. Do that again. There's a cheer move. Can you give us a quick cheer?
P-R-I-D-E, Spartan.
Yay! All right, go clean the living room now. Get out of here.
I'm cleaning the bathroom.
Oh, you're cleaning the bathroom. Okay. Yeah, don't forget to mop the floor. Bathroom up there is gross. The main bathroom is the girls' bathroom in the house here. Girls are grosser than boys. Flynn's got the master bedroom that was built into the house because Raini and I have the master bedroom down here. So he's got what was the master bedroom, and so he's got the master bath in his room. That's the boys' bathroom. I'll walk in there some days and go, do I actually want to pee in a toilet in this room? I mean, and I'm like, Flynn, and I occasionally clean it, at least once a week I clean it up. All I ask my kids to do is maintain things. And and I think we left off talking about perhaps Kamala Harris getting her drunk on the last few days. That's possible. That those bathrooms make me want to get my drunk on. So great job, kiddo. Yep, she's good. So you should see her in her cheer outfit. Just cute as a button. And they have black and red on it and the Spartan logo and all of that. And she's got the little pleated skirt thing, and God, they look fantastic. She looks good doing what she does. So it was fun to watch her yesterday for the 6 minutes out of that 6 hours. The look, let's see. Oh, she looked like she wanted to get off that stage and climb right into a bottle. Yeah, she sure did. And there's a part of me that feels sorry for Kamala only because I empathize with the feeling she must be going through. She fucked up big time. And she lost the election that I'm pretty sure as much as she was told what to say and to not do any interviews, unless they were approved interviews by her party, or to not do any news conferences. She did a couple of little tiny ones with approved questions. That was not an open presser. Just like she was told all of that, what she was told not to detail her policies, because people didn't want to hear about. She was told to really pump up the Hitler thing about Trump, pump up the abortion issue, pump up the women's rights issue, all of that. She was probably told that she was going to win, hands down. There's no question about it. You were going to win. And yeah, I think, Susie Q, you're right. She was probably very relieved that it was just over. And Steph says, I have to say I was impressed with Joe Rogan interviews with Vance and Trump. And one with Fetterman was also interesting. Yeah. But Harris turned down the Rogan interview. Why? She would have been pressed, just like Trump was. Rogan likes Trump, but he pressed him. He wanted answers. Trump sat there for 3 hours of an unscripted dialogue interview with Joe Rogan. Kamala couldn't have done that. I think she said she would only do it if they limited it to 30 minutes or something like that. And that's something I heard, but I don't know that for sure. I don't have the facts in front of me on that one. But yeah, and it wasn't all political either, says Randall Flagg. Yeah, the Joe Rogan interview, it was a lot of other stuff too. He had a good time. And I think that interview gave, what does Joe Rogan have? Something like, what did they say? 14 or 40 million viewers. It gave all of his viewers a chance to see Trump outside of what the other party was saying he was, or outside of a rally, showed who he was. JP says, she asked for it to be limited to 1 hour. So I wonder what else she asked for. Did she ask for certain questions can't be asked or anything? I don't know. I don't know. So, coffee, cold. So, status, cold. And that was my final cup from my French press this morning. Yep, certain questions were not to be asked. Like, did you really grow up in a middle-class neighborhood? He had to go to her. There it is. Yeah, exactly. So I think Kamala, if she thinks at all, has to think, I was really my own worst enemy in this candidacy, in this election. Campaign. That's the word I was looking for. If she thinks about it. Do I think she's a good person? I think all people have goodness in them, but I think all people have evil in them too. Me too. Am I a good person? No. I play a good person on TV. I'm not an evil person, but I'm not always good and I'm not always right. And I think all of us, if we're honest, can say that. I'm not always good. I know good people. But I try to be good. I strive for it. Does Kamala Harris do that? That's the aftermath I would ask of the election is I only feel for her because I feel for anybody who gets trounced so badly when she was told she was going to win so much better. I think she felt she was a shoo-in, and that's why she didn't address a lot of these issues. She kept clear of that stuff. She didn't need to talk about that stuff. And she was incredibly wrong on what the American people wanted. So Claudette said she wouldn't have answered anything. She would have just laughed. Yeah, exactly. So when are we going to hear from her next? Where do you think? Here's a question. What do you think she's going to do next? She's still the vice president of the United States for another 2.5 months. What do you think is going to happen to her? Or what's going to be her profile now that the election is over? The Democrats, if you remember, I'm not just making this shit up, folks. The Democrats did not want her. A mere 3.5, 4 months ago, well, 100 days ago, they didn't want her. She was out. They did not want to replace Biden with her. They were going to make him hold on by his fingernails. And if you saw that speech he gave the other day about the transition being, it's going to be a good one. We're going to do everything we can to help Donald Trump and his new administration transfer power. And he talked about the American people have voted. This is what we do here, he says. Now, some of that could have been a sideways slam on trying to say, I called out January 6th, and I'm going to say, I don't think Donald Trump handled it very well. We're going to do so much better than he did. There could have been a sideways thing, but he didn't make any ovation to that at all. He just said, we're going to make sure this works. So all the way back to that question. If you think somebody's Hitler and you call him out during an election many times over as being a fascist Hitler, is that what you say about them after they've won the election? Critics would say, well, he's probably afraid of what Trump will do to him now. Bullshit. Is that the way you talk about somebody who is the Hitler that the country was just duped into electing? Some people say she's going to seek the governorship in California, says Randall Flagg. Yeah, probably because they're probably going to be grooming Gavin Newsom to, they asked him to back off. He was this close when Biden was still running to coming in and throwing his name in the hat. I think they told him to back off. The party did. Boy, what are those party leaders thinking now? Boy, they got it wrong. What did Trump say all along, too? He says, make it too big to rig. When you win the popular vote by more than 5 to 10 million votes, even 5 million, take the low side. That's a significant number. That's too big to rig. Well, they said Joe Biden won by what? And something else that came up? Where's that magic extra 14 million votes that Biden got last time? They weren't there this time. Where'd they go? Were they sucked up in a system that's tried to correct any wrong from happening in the election this time around? There you go. Yeah, Joe Biden wore all red on election day. He has red tie, all that. He didn't have a red suit on, but a red tie. Yeah. Not that that's a big thing, but it's a symbolic thing because a lot of Democrats were wearing blue ties for blue. Biden wore his red tie. Biden put on the MAGA hat at that one little event a couple of months ago. Maybe Willie Brown has a position for her. Maybe. Steph says, I wonder where all the Democrat Party campaign funds went. I was hearing a breakdown of that. She did things like she had to pay Oprah. She had to pay Oprah $1 million to speak at her event and to be on her show, I think. I don't know if it was to be on the show or just to come and speak and support her. She had to pay Beyonce, I think it was $500,000, who didn't even sing for her. She came out of this here. Now you tell me, does this sound like somebody that would have been fiscally responsible as the president of the United States? She garnered over $1 billion in campaign funds in just 3 months when she entered the campaign. $1 billion raised. Now, you know that there's big people behind that. I could come up with names. You probably could name them that would come up and support her in that way. But she had $1 billion, which is the most money any presidential candidate has ever had. Trump was somewhere in the 500 to 600 million, if I remember hearing that right, or 200 to 400 million, something like that. She had $1 billion. And guess what? After the election, it was in the news all over the place. It was restated. She is 20 million in debt. So what did they do? They used that money. They spent it everywhere they could to try to get celebrities, to try to get, even if I watched a conservative news station like, what's the name of the station? Real Politics or something like that. Real America, something like that. Charlie Kirk is on their network, and recently released from political prison, Steve Bannon. And he's got a show on there. And there's a couple of other good shows that I like to watch when I'm doing other stuff. I don't sit down and watch TV with popcorn. I don't have time. It plays while I'm doing stuff. But I think that's where I heard some of this stuff. There was something about you got kicked out of the chat? Who kicked you out? Weird. Something about her being funded and that she had spent $20 million over. And now that you don't hear that widely reported, but I've heard it reported several times. Kamala Harris is $20 million in debt. Did you know what Trump did? Trump came out yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before. They asked him, what about Kamala Harris's $20 million in debt? Did you see that? She raised $1 billion and came out of the election still $20 million in debt. Folks, that's $1 billion, $20 million that Kamala Harris spent on her campaign. That's a lot of money. Somebody look it up for me. How much did Trump spend? How much did he raise in total? So she spent that amount of money. Trump came out and said, I'd be willing to have the government forgive her the $20 million overage so she can come out at zero. That's the kind of person Trump is. Oh, there it is. Randall Flagg said it himself. Trump said he might pay it off. What do you think of that? Oh, but he's Hitler. She called him Hitler. I don't for a moment think she believed that. She was trying to convince everybody else that it was true in hopes that they would vote her in. Hey, JP, he's over there somewhere. Jason Patrick, calling Jason Patrick. What did I say what were we talking about? Where I said we should talk about that on Sunday. Now I can't think of what the topic was. So many different topics going through my head all the time. So, what's shaking? Yeah, that's what's shaking. What was the topic? I said we should talk about that on the show on Sunday. I can't think of what it was. So maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, Google is sending me on a wild goose chase. They're saying Harris got more, but they're not giving me any totals. Well, we already know she took in $1 billion and she was 20 million over. That's been in the news. JP, you think I remember? I've slept since then. Says JP. Yeah, same here. I can't remember what it was. That's all right. Or like my mom used to say when I was growing up, must not be too important. And you come back with, oh, I remember. I'm radioactive. Prove me wrong. So there you go. So all of you, if any of you are tuned in that disagree with what I'm saying, it's okay to disagree with me. I disagree with you. So what? So we disagree. I don't hate people I disagree with unless they're abusive about it. That's the only time I will say, you know what? You can disagree with me all you want, but if you're abusive, you're gone. Remember, we had some people on this show, a person on this show that I disagreed with. I let him on all the time. He insulted my wife. Personal assault. Insult. I said, you fix that or you're gone. And he was kind of like oh yeah, just go ahead, prove it. And I said, okay, bye. And then I happened to see a post afterwards that he got kicked for what he believed in, which was the biggest bunch of hogwashi bullshit I had ever heard. He got kicked because he personally insulted my wife, which you don't do. You can argue with her. You can tell her she's wrong, but you insult her, you're gone. Don't abuse people. And I didn't bother with it, but I would have loved to have written on his post. Maybe you don't abuse, you abused somebody verbally. That's why you're gone, not because of what you believe. So just so you all know, you probably all know who I'm talking about. I let him say whatever he wanted to say. I'd argue with him. He was fun to argue with because I think he was kind of dumb. But once you become abusive toward a person, to me, I can handle it to a certain extent. You do that to my wife, bye. So, this was the same person who said he's a Republican, but he votes Democrat because they're better. He believed in Bidenomics. He made a statement a few months ago that said, well, Bidenomics is working. He said, my house just doubled in value. That's pretty good. And I said, well, yeah, maybe so, but maybe ask yourself the question, why did your house double in value? And who out there is going to be able to afford to buy it at that inflated rate? So is Bidenomics working? It's working if your house doubles in value, but it's not working. Is it still working if nobody can buy it at that rate? No, he's not back in this group unless he came in under a pseudonym, Steph. I banned him. I banned him here, and I banned him from my social media. Not immediately. I gave him an opportunity to make it right. So, if he'd have come in and been abusive to you, Steph, not just because it was my wife, if he was abusive to anybody, I'd say, you make that thing right or you'll be gone. And he was like the tough guy, like, oh, like I care if I'm gone, like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye. Click. So, yeah, he's gone now. He's been gone for 2 months, 6 weeks, something like that, whatever it's been. So, enough on that. I just like to excoriate stupidity. So, there you go. If Biden had his way, they'd be taxed on the value of the house. Yeah. Exactly. So, on the anticipated value of the house, on what the house would be worth when you sell it. No, not that, because you couldn't sell it at that price. So, anyway, there's that. Okay, what do you all got to talk about? I got a ton of other stuff. I can just keep going. What do you guys want to talk about? Scott Allen, greetings. It's 10:20. Just thought I'd let you know. Central Time. Show started at 9, hour and 20 minutes ago. I'm sure you've got an excuse for being late, though. So, no, it's okay. We come in when we can come in. I'm going to leave a little early today, so I might be done. But I was going to leave early because I had John and Bree coming over. I don't think they're coming over now today. We're rescheduling. So, oh, I got this great shirt. Look at this. Let's see if you can read it. I loved this. Now, I'm in Wisconsin, which borders Lake Superior and Minnesota. It's up in Duluth and all that. Lake Superior. No salt, no sharks, no worries. I got that. I found that at the Goodwill the other day. Got the shirt for $4 at the Goodwill. How about that? I love it. So I hear them all scurrying around up there cleaning. I only told Ro, I said, don't tell Ellie and John and Bree aren't coming today. I said, everybody get this place picked up. Clean that bathroom. That bathroom is horrendous. I mean, you got Raini's good. I mean, Raini will, all Raini uses, believe it or not, with her natural beauty, she puts on a little eyeliner, and I love it when she does the little point that comes up. Just adds that. It's amazing what a little 1/8-inch point on either side does to make her look sexier than ever. So she puts that on. She does that. She doesn't really even wear lipstick. She doesn't wear foundation or rouge. She just does her eyes. Eyeliner and eyelash stuff, whatever you call that. And so she's pretty good in the bathroom. The girls, my 9 going on 10, my 12 going on 13-year-old. And by the way, yeah, Ellie will be, or Rowan will be 13 in about 10 days. And Ellie will be 10 in about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So my little all practical purposes, my 10 and 13-year-old, that bathroom, the main bathroom, is a CF of all different kinds of makeup and things to wipe off makeup with, and brushes and wads of hair. So, who's this? Think simply. How about everyone yelling racist while not addressing the issue of rap music? Decimating. Oh, there it is. Decimating the black community and ruined all youth. Whoop! Not vote. Yep. I agree with you to a certain extent. Do I know you? I don't know who you are by that name. Just, you don't have to give your real name if you don't want to give it. But if I know you personally, just say so. Then say yes or no, and then I'll know. Oh, okay, I know somebody. Or shoot me a message. Just good to know. So we got JP popping in here. By the way, let's put him in.
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
That hot coffee. My hot coffee is all gone. I did French press today, and I drank it all. All I got left is this little cold bit.
Yeah. I need to get a new French press. I either got rid of mine or I gave it away before I moved down here because I was just clearing house and figured I'd find something that was a little more, retro-y, mid-century kind of look to it, and maybe a little sturdier than my glass and plastic.
I love that kind of stuff. I could do a whole house like 1930s, 40s.
Well, that's what I'm working on right now, actually.
Yeah.
If you and I don't know if you've noticed or not, but the background, the wall's not the same color. I painted in the kitchen.
Yep.
And
That's a good color, by the way.
Yeah, it's kind of sea foamy green, but it's also kind of robin eggs bluey little kind of ish going on. So if I get if I'm looking for the new build retro fridges and stoves and stuff like that to put in, I have a little more flexibility with which way I can go color wise.
Sure.
The whole thing that I'm going to end up doing in the kitchen is because I have you're going to see the mess of my kitchen, but you can see like the tile backsplash area.
Very nice.
All of that's white. I found a company like on Amazon that was selling, it's basically automotive vinyl decal grade 6x6 squares, and all the tiles are 6x6. And so I was able to put it perfectly over the tile, so I don't have to knock out a bunch of grout and pull tile and go through all of that.
You know what I want to do in the master bedroom over there? Maybe even out in Raini's studio in the family room that's on that side.
Yeah.
Which we never use. It's just down here. Kids, everybody go down and watch TV downstairs. That's what that room is. All you kids go down and watch TV downstairs room.
Right.
I want to put the metal ceilings. The
copper tin plate. Copper plate. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of a brushed copper, but brushed with like a blackening.
Yeah. Right.
It looks really sharp. So
I want
that ceiling over there.
Like you can't see it right now because I moved my old TV back onto it as I'm shuffling things around since I got it. But Friday, I guess it was, that we have a place here local called the Future Antiques.
I saw the picture, by the way.
Oh, so you saw the picture of the dresser?
I did.
Yeah, dude, it's like in immaculate condition too, and I actually got a pretty good deal on it. I think after taxes, it was like 11. And when I started looking online for the Broyhill emphasis line,
yes,
it was going like well above 2K for just the dresser without the mirror. So, yeah, but
Broyhill.
Yeah,
the year I had the heart surgery, we bought a new sofa set. It was right after that.
Yeah.
And we bought a new sofa set. It was Broyhill.
Yeah.
We went to the furniture store and actually special ordered it. Had it made. A big ass sectional.
Yeah.
It was one of those with the section here and the section here, but then it had the little notched piece that came off at an angle over on the far end. It was
right.
Kind of, and we had that made up. It cost us, I think, about $3,000 to have that done, and we had it done in like a sage green.
Okay.
So real grayish green.
Yeah.
And
that's a good color.
It was gorgeous. It was enormous.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But I'm going to say this without pointing fingers.
Right.
Somebody's children absolutely destroyed it.
Oh, that's horrible that somebody's children did that. Kids these days.
I know. From what I hear, they weren't supposed to bring food on it. They weren't supposed to jump on it.
No.
The back cushions were those kinds that were attached to the back of the sofa.
Yeah.
All ripped out and everything. And I actually had a guy to clean it from the company.
Yeah.
And he looked at it and he went,
yeah,
I can clean this for you. He says, I'll tell you what my wife and I decided this guy was probably around 60.
Yeah.
My wife and I decided a long time ago, you don't buy no new furniture till the kids are out of the house.
Yep. That is true. Truer words have never been spoken. Yeah. And it's a great piece because it's solid walnut. It's walnut. All of the drawers, all the joints are all dovetailed. Like you don't get that nowadays unless you're paying a lot for furniture. Yeah. And so it's like one of those things when I was looking at the value of it, like what it was going for online in various places and stuff like that. I was like, dude, this thing is just going to increase in value.
Yep.
And it's it's in such good shape, it might as well be new.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And so I'm slowly
nice.
piecing things together to going back to the whole, getting a house looking that way.
Here, I'm gonna show you something. It's like I got a bunch of tattoo boxes and stuff of supplies over here, but I'm gonna turn this, see if you can see this. You see that cabinet back there with the glass doors. It's actually got. Did I just unplug something?
Camera tilted down a little bit, but I can see it.
Yeah, there it is. So that cabinet, it's got the curved glass on the sides. And
okay. Yeah.
I got that for $10 at a moving sale. Somebody wanted to get rid of it.
Right.
Oh, we don't want to have to move that. And so it's fantastic.
Dude, estate sales, garage sales. There's a guy like
I got
2 blocks up on the road who's been having like a big like furniture sale, yard sale thing. And there's like a bunch of like huge pieces that just wouldn't fit right in my house just because of layout. But it's like, oh, that's some old shit right there. That would be awesome if I had a house that could support that too. Oh yeah.
Here, I've got to set something I didn't notice right away, folks. My mic was unplugged.
Oh,
there now it's going to sound a little different. So there you go. It picks up the more resonance.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's a little more bass to it. A little more.
Yep. Timber.
Yes, there we go. I also picked up the yesterday when I picked up the dresser. I picked up this 1960s like it's either a diner or airline like coffee carafe and cup.
Nice. Nice.
So it's like
nice.
that.
Yes. Yeah. My mom worked as a waitress in restaurants.
The cups.
Look at those.
Right.
My mom worked as a waitress in restaurants the whole time I was growing up.
Yeah.
We had so many of those at our house. Not the cups, the coffee pots.
Yeah.
1960s, yes. Roger Rabbit is here. Good morning, everyone, he says.
Good
Been watching
morning,
on the TV. Phone was updating, but back in business now. Felt weird not being able to message the chat. Felt weird not having you message the chat.
Yeah. He was on Geezer Geeks last night. So, or whenever that was. Was that last night?
Did you find out what's up with Bauer's Facebook? Did they take him down or did he take it down?
I think they took him down. Somebody took him down. That was kind of what he indicated on the show, which is,
I believe it.
Yeah.
I've had more posts on Facebook that weren't really super political in nature.
Yeah.
That people have complained about.
Oh yeah.
And it gets taken down without review until you ask to review it.
I was put into the penalty box this weekend with posting in groups and commenting in groups because there was this one page that I followed, and it's like, I think it's something like shit women lawyers say.
Nice.
And there's a lot of libs in there, right? But sometimes they post some absolutely just golden comedy type stuff in there.
By the way, say good morning to JP.
Hi.
It's Rowan.
Hey.
What can I do for you?
You know that perfume I really want?
She's telling me what perfume she really wants.
Well, you know that perfume that I really
All right, everybody on radio, listen to this. This is scintillating radio. Hold on. Dad.
You know the perfume that I really, really want?
What's the perfume you really, really want?
This one right here, the one that I had to go on a waiting list for.
Ode to JJ? Is that his name, JJ?
Yeah, but you know the one I had to go on a waiting list for?
That would be like me buying I want to buy a cologne.
So why do you want
like 7 of 9?
Why do you want that perfume? Is it because it's associated with this JJ person, or?
Here.
No,
I'll show you.
it's because this lady just made it, and if I don't get it now, I'll never be able to get it because you have to go on a waiting list for it.
Oh, so
Outer
you have
Banks.
FOMO.
Outer
Do you know what it?
Banks
Do you know what it
Paradise
smells
on
like at
Earth.
all?
It smells like vanilla.
She's never smelled it.
You're just reading the
I just know it smells like JJ.
But Dad, if we don't buy it in 24 hours, I lose my spot and I'll never be able to get one.
just
Okay.
Can we
just go and
How much is it?
yeah. How much is it?
do my thing?
I'll bet you it's 50 or more.
Hold on, I'm trying to do something, and you're
See,
in my way.
what you could do is go for a very classic fragrance and look at lines offered by Pinot Clubman, which is typically a men's cologne and aftershave.
Mhm.
But there's a
Go on.
scent called Blue Waltz.
Look at
That's
that.
a very,
Blue
very
Vault.
classic scent. And
Is that what
ended
you
up-
wear?
No,
That looks
no.
from here. It looks like Care Bear's perfume.
Right, I know. That's the label. But I got it with some stuff because I had gotten it for a gal that I was dating, and then it got packed up.
Called
And
Blue
all that stuff.
Walls, WALS. Smells like Democrat tears.
no, but that's funny. Blue Waltz, as in the dance.
Yeah.
Classic fragrances.
Wait, someone might. Hold on, I can't hear you.
Who's here?
Can't hear you. Can't hear
Can't
you.
hear you. I'm sorry. La, 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 la.
Yeah, no, I'm a Pinot Clubman kind of guy.
Yes.
Very, very classic. That's the special reserve. I don't know if aged in bourbon cast or something. I have no idea why it's special. Or Bay rum. I have a straight just Bay rum that I get at the
Rum.
international market.
I'm a brute man.
Right.
Remember
Yeah,
brute?
I did Brute for a while.
I did back in 1973.
If you
I used
can
Brute.
find one of those knockoff companies that they make the
Smells
colognes.
like. Yep.
Right. And some of them are really, really good. So there is I forget who makes it. But there's a bunch of companies that will do knockoffs of it. It's called
You know what I
Green
wore?
Irish Tweed.
Irish
And
tweed.
Green Irish Tweed.
I have
and
seen
it
that
is-
very recently.
It
And
was
I thought, what does Irish tweed smell like?
it's hard
Depends
to
on how
describe
long
it.
it's been on the Drunken Irishman.
Right, yeah. But it was print it may still be for all I know, but it was made specifically for Prince Charles.
Oh, nice.
Or well, King Charles.
King Charles now.
Yeah, but it became hugely popular. It is stupidly expensive per
Yes.
pound to get the real stuff.
Come
But
down here, please. I'm on the radio. I'm not going to shout up and down the stairs.
Unforgivable by Sean John.
Wars.
Sean Jean.
Bye.
I don't feel right wearing something called Unforgivable owned by Diddy though.
I wear a cologne called 1821.
Right. Let me guess. Is it like the sweet tobacco?
The sweet tobacco, the red,
Yeah.
sweet red tobacco.
Yeah, I had their pomade for a while.
I like that. I use the body wash, and I had the pomade once.
It can be a little intense.
It can be, but it's
Yeah.
a good intense. It's like if I put it on, if I do
Yeah.
two of them, Rainy will go, oh, whoa, that's coming on powerful. So I just do the spray it in the air and walk through it.
Right. Which
Kind
is
of
how you
thing.
should do it anyway, right? Or
But it's-
something.
yeah.
I don't know.
But it smells like red tobacco, which is not.
Yeah.
Don't think cigarettes. It's red
Right.
tobacco. It's and it's really nice.
Well, and that's one of those things that like a lot of people
Try that one,
nowadays
Roger
don't-
Rabbit.
A lot of people don't know
1821.
it. A lot of people don't know this or are able to experience this nowadays. But have you ever been inside of a tobacco barn?
I have.
That sweet earthen smell while it's up in the
It's
rafters.
like smelling old whiskey barrels or something.
It's that same kind of
quality.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's it's earthy and sweet. And we had
Earthy and sweet, just like me.
we had on our on family land in Ohio, we had like 100+ year old barn. I think they tore it down like 2 years ago because it was just structurally unsound. But that's where we used to hang and dry our tobacco, because we grew a lot of tobacco family wise. We grew a lot of tobacco back in the day, and soybean, corn, stuff like that. But we'd always have a bunch of tobacco as well. And so you'd go out, cut the stalks, put it on the spear, load it up on the truck, and then you take it and you put it up in the rafters of the barn. Everything was set up to hang these spears that had multiple stalks of tobacco, and it would just, they would air dry.
Oh, by the way, I just looked over while you were talking. Not that I wasn't listening. I just looked over, checked out the Instagram. Somebody, I believe this is probably the same person who
Scott Allen saying something about he has blue balls.
No. That was something totally different.
No, I don't know. He's just talking about it.
No. When you said Bluebell or something for your cologne,
blue waltz.
I heard blue balls from across the room. Somebody over here on the Instagram page put, "You are a Triple K member with no sheet," and it's got the name Bodie, Bodie Myers, Miars. There's somebody with the last name of Myers. Can't remember, the Lori something Myers, who blocked me the other day on Facebook because I didn't even know what she was complaining about. But this is very typical to me of people that you're saying something I don't like, so I have to block you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, why don't you have a conversation instead?
Well, and they can't.
Or they say something, then they block you. So.
Yeah. Well, I get that. I get a lot.
I got to take a screenshot of this though, so I have this,
right?
So I can show it off
for posterity.
Yeah, I'm a Triple K member with no sheet. Did I talk about race at all today?
No, I don't think you did.
That's interesting.
But you brought up Trump, so they're.
I brought up Trump. So I'm a racist by default.
Right. There is on that page that I was mentioning earlier, somebody posted one of those generic, broad sweeping statements like they're speaking for an entire community.
Yeah.
And it was something about like women feeling, wanting to be, women don't want to be protected. They don't, and all of that stuff. We don't need to be protected by you, like that kind of thing.
Right.
And all I said was, rather bold of you to speak for an entire demographic.
Yes.
And it just devolved from there.
I'm sure.
And I don't get, mean or nasty or anything like that until somebody comes at me that way.
Yeah.
If you come at me that way, then it's like, okay.
I'll say something back.
And it's usually like, the third or fourth time that they've come in and said something, then it's like,
yes,
okay, you want to dance, we can dance,
play?
And I forget what it was. I said, there was a guy in there who was going off whatever, and he kept saying all this shit, and then I was like, okay, you're sitting over there white knighting all of this stuff, like just just stop. And he'd come back and call me an incel, and I threw up a meme of Emperor Palpatine going, good, let the butter flow through you.
Take my lightsaber, strike me down with it.
Yeah, exactly. But like somebody comes in and it's like, look, I didn't tell anybody how to do anything or how to feel or anything. I just said that it's pretty bold to make a blanket statement for an entire demographic of people, because I do know women who haven't been through severe trauma who are like, I like hanging around you and the other guys in the group because, like, hanging out with like some vet friends and things like that. It's like I feel safe and protected. I know you guys are going to look out for the group and whatever's going on, and I like feeling that way.
Yeah,
and like. There are women out there who like to feel that the societal, the structures and things like that within society is that men are supposed to do. People feel and think this way. You can't just say everyone doesn't. And I was like, so when I went in there, I said, mighty bold of you to say that. And I said, perhaps saying, there's a number of women who, and we feel, right, might have been a better wording. It comes in.
don't tell us what we can say and can't say or how to do something, or putting perhaps in front of something doesn't change it from being mansplaining.
Yes, yeah,
I was
whatever.
like, I wasn't mansplaining shit.
By the way, there it is. I took a screenshot. That's the Instagram page. You can see there, second from the bottom. Bodie Myers, you're a Triple K member with no sheet. Bodie
People
Myers
are losing their minds. Here's
I know.
here's one of the
That's
things,
dumb.
though, in all of this that I would really,
Thank you, Bodie Myers, by the way.
personally, I would really like to see, okay, is that you had one side or a part of one side that has just absolutely lambasted everybody on, of the opposing view. And it's like all of this stuff. What I would like to actually see, and I know there's a little bit of that, like, well, hey, you know what? It's our turn now.
Yeah.
We've played nice. We've done this. You know what? No, now you're getting a dose of your. I understand that. What I would actually like to see, and I've kind of been a little annoyed with some of, like, people in conservative media and stuff that, I watch videos every once in a while, Fox or whatever. And it's like, all right, look, why don't we have a little grace?
Yeah.
All right. We literally just beat the hell out of their candidate. There's things have been going on. They've called anybody who voted conservative, all of this horrible stuff. Don't give them the ammunition to make them further think they're right, for one. And the other thing is, be the bigger people. If people are going to come at you like that, be the bigger people. Good sportsmanship. If that's what conservatives are going to say that we're about, all that stuff like that, be the bigger people. Don't act like how they've acted. And it's, there's a room in there for a little gloating, with the, just
sure,
hey, we won kind of thing, but you can be.
I only take that so far. I don't do a lot of gloating.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm not saying you do.
The mockers is what I do.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, like, stuff that I've seen in, like, the bigger media and how they've done. It's like, take the high road, dude. Take the high road. We, like, sure, some of these things, it is entertaining to watch the scream cry videos every once in a while, especially when they're saying things that are absolutely ridiculous.
It sure is.
Like, there's a little bit of a humor there, but there's also, like, and I don't know, maybe I am just too nice of a person or something, but it's like, you're too good-hearted, whatever. Yeah. But it's kind of like, you have some people, whatever's going on there, they're having a problem with this, a little compassion. I'm sure it's kind of like, I'm sure there's probably, like, how would you show compassion to that? It's just like, hey man, look, I'm sorry that you're going through this, and I hope things get better. It'll be all right. We're still here. We all woke up today. Focus on the good thing, and just leave it at that. There's a lot of stuff, though, that it's just like, good God.
I get it, and there's a lot of those people that are, saying things like, well, that's not the way you were last time. It's our turn to go ahead, complain. I don't recall, other than disputing the election, I don't recall anything I said that was gloating about. Well, I didn't gloat, or that was treating the left poorly or saying untruths. So yeah.
Well, it is interesting, and especially with dealing with people in that emotional state. Like,
yes,
you don't have to egg it on. Right? Just all right, man. Have your space.
We got another member of the KKK coming in. KKK.
Oh shit! It's the professor.
There he is. How you doing, Professor?
Oh, I am basking in the marvelous marination of just absolute destruction of an ideology that had it coming for a long time.
I agree.
Did it to itself. And when you talk about not gloating, I'm going to gloat the fuck out of this.
I know you are. I know you are. We all know you are.
I'm not a gloater normally.
Because it's been earned and deserved. We just witnessed a cosmic smackdown of an ideology that's permeated and been a parasite in just about every institutional component of our society.
Mhm.
They found out
flying her freak flag high.
they found out that, contrary to their popular belief, they were not the majority.
Mhm.
They were not only not the majority, but they're a complete abject rejection of everything that they think, that they say, that they've been pushing down our throats and up our asses for. Basically, it really goes back about 16 years at the start of Obumble. And we covered this last night. JP, you heard it on the show last night.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole machine thing, and I'll just give you my little quick thing, because I've been marinating, basking, and I'm going to continue in it, because we have finally won. And what did we win? We won the right and the of reason, logic, and common sense.
Yeah.
We won the right of morals and ethics of a traditional sense, not some mangled, manipulated, mashed up bullshit of definitions and words.
Yeah.
But the really awesome thing is that, because, and I've said this, I started saying this back in the late 90s, and this goes back actually to the 90s. You remember, any of you remember a guy named Rush Limbaugh?
Yeah.
Do you remember his thing about liberalism was a mental disorder?
Yeah.
He called that.
Plenty of people have said that.
Well, but he was on it hard. That was his mantra back in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
And I kept listening to it. I was watching, at that time I was consuming all the news, because I didn't know what I know now. But this is a cosmic smackdown.
Yeah.
These people have been put in their place where they belong. They've been shut up. They are now, as a result of their complete inept incompetence of being able to think past their nose. They have no strategic, no tactic concept in the way that they plan and think and execute. So they just, everything that has happened to them was on their own nickel. They did it to themselves, in spite of people like us for years telling them that they were wrong. But we kept getting the pushback because they thought that we were in the minority.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit to having way too much fun trolling the shit out of these left podcasters. There's three in particular that have a lot of the juice on YouTube: David Pakman, Midas Touch, and what they used to, they're still calling themselves a Majority Report. And they were the first ones I went after. I went right into their comment section. I said, hey, now that you're not the majority anymore, you're going to change your name to Minority Report? How delicious would that be?
Nice.
So they deserve all of the mocking. They deserve all of the, just whatever you want to throw at them. They did it to themselves.
And it's responses like what you hear from Governor Pritzker in Illinois. And Roger, you should, Roger Rabbit, you should have your ears perked on this. You live in Illinois. No, you're Indiana. Sorry. But he said, remember the other day in response to the election, Governor Pritzker of Illinois said, to anyone who intends to come take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans, I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people. You come through me.
That's just a bunch of
wow. That's a very conservative.
It is
kind of rhetoric.
Well, it's just posturing bullshit of, your feathers got ruffled, so you're spreading your little whatever you got left. Well, I'm sorry, go fuck yourself. And I'm tired. I am now at the point, and I've been this way for a while, but now there's so much evidence behind it that, it's like we have the universe on our side. These people need to be told to go fuck off. Now, it's the people at the top that are where the majority of this fuckery and pointing the fuck off to is directed. The sad thing is all the people below them that believed this bullshit, they deserve compassion. They deserve understanding, because for whatever reason, whether they got it right or not, they believed, and this is where the real critical.
Well, and that's one of the things I think, actually, Professor, I think you're probably not tracking on what I'm getting at. I'm not talking about the pundits, right? I'm not talking about those people. The people, on the left media that sit there and have put out all the rhetoric and things like that I'm talking about having some grace with, having, being a good sportsmanship, being a good example of leadership and things like that. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the people who listened to the rhetoric and took it hook, line, and sinker.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. I'm talking about those people who should have compassion because they were sold a bill of goods and it wasn't correct.
But it only goes to a certain point, though, Jason, in my opinion. At some point, where is your own personal responsibility and accountability kick in?
And you know what?
If you were stupid enough to believe something that was so wrong for so long, in spite of evidence to the contrary.
So I'm going to ask you a tough question.
You did nothing but amplify the bullshit. No. We're gonna give you a short pass to, now that you've been smacked, open your eyes, awaken to the reality, to the great. And here's another one that we're adding to the great reveal and all that. If Tuesday night was the great repudiation,
yes,
and if these people don't get,
good way to put it,
that they were completely denied, they were denied. There was an opportunity. And this is one of the things that we also talked about. I think you were on, Jason. We were talking about the refounders. Do you remember that part, right?
Yeah.
Here's some really interesting cosmic coinky dinky thingies that you kind of go, wait a minute, talk to me about what's that spirit world thing again? What's that Ethereum and Materium thing that this guy rambles on about? We are in right now a Pluto return. The Pluto return. Oh, yeah, baby. Don't you eat that in front of me without sharing. So,
dude.
You're there. I would share my donuts with you, but, sorry.
Well,
you'll just have to live vicariously through me. Do I go with a bear claw or blueberry cake? Do I go with the berry and cream, raspberry, apple?
Do you have the eclair in there?
I have custard filled, not the full on eclair.
That's good. You're good.
Yeah, this is the one that I should eat. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, go ahead, stuff it in your face.
Yeah, nope.
Do it,
bear claw, motherfucker.
Oh, so here's the interesting thing about the cosmos. Everybody's that's woo woo shit, that all that tinfoil hat crap. Okay, square this up, all of you informed folks. The last time we were in a Pluto return, Pluto takes 240 years roughly to make a complete cycle around the helical model of the solar.
Where were we 240 years ago?
240 years ago was 1776.
Yep.
In fact, in 2026, 2 years from now, we will be celebrating the 250th year of our birth as a country.
Yes.
Who are the folks
talking about that? And I didn't know that fact about the 240-year cycle. Somebody was just talking about Pluto, and they're on the other side of where I would be politically. And that's what they were referring to. If I'd known that fact when I saw that thing 2 days ago, I'd have said, yeah, what else? What took place the last time this happened? The American Revolution.
Well, there's some very interesting maps, and this is all about the metrics and the matrix that I keep going on about. It's the data sets. It's observing the field of information and trying to sort through it and see what the hell's going on.
Yes.
Well, not only did Pluto, last time Pluto came around in this position, is when we became a country. And our 2 years will be our 250th anniversary.
Yes.
But you never really know what's going on in a set of circumstances unless you know the players. You can have any kind of story, and as a man bites dog, okay, or dog bites man, or whatever. And that's like, okay, well, we all hear about that all the time. Well, what are the unique circumstances to this? Who are the players? What was going on? So my point of that analogy is mapping it back to who was in play at the birth of our country. Ben Franklin, Patrick Henry, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Madison, all these guys, and a bunch of others were basically in their 20s. In their 20s, I think Jefferson or was it Madison was 18 writing this shit, right? So these are a bunch of young studs that had a desire and a dream and
Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Hamilton. You're right. To create something that hadn't been created before, and their individual minds, their collective grouping of getting shit done and writing this stuff out, created what we have now that we just went through. Now move forward 250 years. We, up until Tuesday night, we were looking like we were about to head right into the dumpster, but instead we ran into the Trumpster. And that Trumpster completely set a line of demarcation of our country continuing down a road of complete destruction, self-imposed, or transferring into what I've been calling for a long time, the golden age. And here it is. I played a piece last night. I don't know if you've seen this, Scotty, where it's Trump making his claim about what he's going to do for free speech.
Yes.
Holy shit. He did not hold back. JP,
so I'll be completely honest. When you started playing that, there was some sort of bad sync up with audio, and then a lot of digitization of the footage. And I was like, and then I could hear in the background a Trump-esque voice, almost like they had recorded something over and then digital. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, no, that wasn't my bad. I had it loaded on one of the streams and had the audio on. So that's what that background was. I finally figured that out. But anyway, my point is, when you look at the men that are in place and the women, and Abigail Adams is a very influential woman back then who was married to John Adams.
Yes.
Right.
A very influential man.
Yes. So you look at all of those cats that dug up and made this thing happen 250 years ago. And here we are at the brink of collapse of that original idea because of these fucking idiots that came up with this crap and polluted the minds of people and continued to push a parasite of foolishness, fuckery, and complete fakery. And they did it on purpose. That's why I've got very little compassion, and I'm more fired up to get in their faces now than ever before, because I got evidence on my side now that they can't deny. All the other stuff is the shit that they make up. So what we have now is we've got
the people selling the bill of goods can't deny. And the people who bought the bill of goods, have a very hard time denying it. But that's the thing is, and you know what? Like, I understand where you're coming from. I am always, probably just because of my life experiences, my experiences with leadership, those kinds of things, the environments that I've been in, the things that I've seen, the visceral understanding that I have of what happens when really bad juju goes on in the world. All right. I'm probably always going to try to take a tact of take the higher road, be better.
It's the default
example.
It's exactly what you should do. But that doesn't always work or apply to the circumstances you have encountered. And this is one of them where mercy, there's a very finite supply of mercy and compassion available. And there's no more time left to put up with this shit. It's caused a decline and a destruction of a world that we all grew up in that was very different. So these people came in and they've hijacked reality for the majority of mankind, and in particularly the United States, but it's a global thing. And that's the other point of this. What happened Tuesday night was a cosmic slap, not only to us, the Americans. This was a ripple across the planet.
Well, it absolutely was.
You saw it instantly the next day with all these leaders calling Trump, saying, we're going to lace our shit down. Maybe we should stop and have a think about this.
Yeah, I mean, you had Hamas saying more stuff about trying to do ceasefire, peace talk things. Qatar came out and was like to Hamas, you're not.
Yeah, the Houthis dropped trowel. I mean, come on.
Right.
These people
China's
everywhere
stock
around the,
market took a nosedive. Like it's
and it's like you said, cryptos went way up.
yeah, it has.
Oh,
Holy crap!
oh shit! Hold on one
That's
second.
what I heard.
Yeah, I've been
Somebody's
watching
at my
mine.
door. Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't have much time.
Yeah,
We're
I think that
already
might have been the what we were that whole. We'll see about talking about it on Sunday. Was the it might have been about the things that you saw happen almost instantaneously in the world. And you see a lot of these people who are sitting there screaming, if you vote for this person, unfriend me. If you vote for this person, you're dead to me. All of these things. And it's like, and talking about how, the world is going to end and things like that. What about those people who understand the dynamics of the outside world, right? Of things like, the People's Republic of China and the CCP and how they do things. Understand how, the extremist organizations and groups do things, and what they understand or respect or respond to culturally and things like that. It's like, when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at, okay, am I, depending on who goes into that office, is going to have a really big impact. Potential spam.
20 times a day.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
least.
I get it too. I get it at work. I get it on the way home from work, on the way to work. But it's looking at things, and you're like, okay, I understand you have these issues, you have these fears, you have these concerns. My concerns are, whoever goes into that office, are you going to have a world left to be able to sit there and complain and gripe and go on your causes or whatever? That's what I'm concerned about. I'm not, when I look at things, I look at what happens when all the other players come into play and something big goes down. Because we've already seen the models for MAD, mutually assured destruction and things like that. Like, anybody who's been around, long enough to, understand the huge nuclear stockpiles, that have been held, all that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm going to vote for whatever's going to leave us with a world left for you to be able to complain about all these things.
Yes.
So where Trump.
Before you answer that, I got to bring up one important point.
Yeah.
Think Simply says, "Holy shit, is the dude on the right, that's you, Professor, the bad guy from Highlander, the Kurgan." Now that would be Clancy Brown. But then he followed me up with something I never knew. I forget his name, the voice of Krusty the Krab. I didn't know Krusty Krab was voiced by Clancy Brown.
I mean, I know he's been in Star Trek a bunch.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So just to the issues of what you're talking about, JC or JP, and the idea of unrest.
Yeah.
When we talked about this, we were casting our geezer gaze and looking at it.
JC, by the way.
Yeah.
A little weird.
A little bit.
It's the halo behind your head.
We were prognosticating on this back in the summer, and people going, look like it could get messy, and I'm thinking, no, it feels like there'll be pockets of bullshit. There'll be people that will pop up and create little dumpster fires and train wrecks and crap all over the place. But it's not going to be. It's not going to be a world war. We're not going to have a nuclear war. We're not going to go to World War III. There's not going to be countries and things falling. And that's exactly what we're seeing. You notice how calm it's been all week?
Yeah. It's been very calm.
Have you noticed a feel of a totally different energy afoot?
Yes. What did you think of Biden's address the other day about the transfer of power? Did you see how he was, his demeanor?
Oh, dude, he looked like they'd just given him some fresh Adderall and maybe a jab in his ass.
Yeah, he was like, he came and he jogged out to the podium, and he was all smiles, and
that guy was probably so happy all of it was over. And I
think so.
I'm telling you, I'm completely convinced that he was probably also, after the way they did him dirty.
I think he probably voted
for
Trump. I would bet you.
That would be hilarious. I would love to find out, like, if, like, in a not an actual sense, because I don't want to. I'm not one of those ones that's like, who did you vote for? Let me know who you voted for. Like, I don't. That's not my business, right? I'm not going to ask it, and I'm not going to tell it. But like celebrities and things like that who like played at Kamala's rallies and Walt's, like all that stuff. I wonder how many of them like took the money and run and and voted in a different way.
Did you see Van Jones? I played that clip last night.
No, what did Van Jones do this time? I know he's been kind of up and down a little bit, but I heard he was all weepy or something.
Oh, I've got it loaded. I can play it for you. But he got on CNN, and it was him and Andrew Wang, the other left dude that's smart.
Yep.
And whoever the hostess with the leastest was asking.
Is it Wang or Yang?
Yang, yeah, Andrew Yang, yeah.
Yeah.
So she said, well, what do you guys think? And Van Jones fires up. First statement out of his mouth is, we spent $1 billion to elect Trump.
Yeah, pretty much. And
he said everything that was done in a complete silo. Nobody was talking to anybody.
Yep.
There was all the creative ideas were not being listened to or even proffered.
They all thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so
there was no room for discussion.
Nope.
Between sides to actually try to come up with.
Nope.
Well, I don't know if this is true, but it sounds accurate. Comes from a regularly credible source. But the night of the election, Walls arrived wherever the fuck he was going, and was getting off the plane, and one of the reporters asked him how they felt about the election and all that, and he's going, yeah, typical pablum bullshit. And the reporters asked him, well, how do you and Kamala feel about what's going on? And he says, well, I haven't talked to her in a week.
Yeah.
And that day,
and he probably didn't mean that as a negative. Oh, we haven't spoken in a week.
He was
we've just been busy, so we haven't.
In reality, where it was like, okay.
So anyway, you know what we talked about earlier in the show was that Kamala having the record $1 billion donated to her ended up $20 million in debt afterwards.
And you saw Trump's reply, right?
Wait, what?
Yep. We'll see what we can do to pay that off.
Well, he was all magnanimous. He was like, hey, look, we understand in the spirit of unity. We think that, because we used a zero cost marketing campaign, which is a whole nother thing that's happened here. Because the media landscape, the left media has been destroyed. The left ideology has been destroyed. All of the infiltration of that into all of the different components of our administration of our country and society, all of that is now it's scattering on its own, or it's just being lopped off.
Yes.
So I wanted to finish my point about the founders.
Go quickly. We are 13 minutes over right now. My family is waiting for me.
So the refounders, we've got all of these. We got Trump. You got Musk, you've got Carlson, you've got Kennedy, you've got Gabbard, and a whole host of other really intelligent people. Charles Hoskinson of Cardano is one of the smartest minds out there, and it's all in the crypto space, and he's building an entire ecosystem.
Yes.
They're talking about tapping him as the crypto czar. I mean, all of the shit that's been suppressed.
Yes,
because of the lack of all of these things are liberating. They mean people will have their own ability to do what they want. Liberty and freedom has gotten a shot in the arm and a kick in the ass. And we should be proud and we should stay with it.
I'll tell you,
because we are in the second coming of the American idea.
I think you're right, Professor. And on that note, we've got to leave that, even though JP has stepped away. We got to leave it there.
I'm here. I just have I'm running low on battery.
I
so
have
I'm trying to
family
shut down
members
systems
that need my attention right now, and we are overtime. Professor, let's see if I do a show tomorrow night. I know I've been very lax on doing my Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows. It's been so busy, and it's been weird around here. Weird personally. Then we will shoot for. Hey, Ellie. We will shoot for maybe tomorrow night or Wednesday night. You can come on, and we'll.
I think it's important to recap this, what happened, and where we're at, but more importantly, where we're going.
Yes,
because the gates just opened. The gunshot was fired.
They did,
and we are off to the races. And the stuff that's in front of us, as I've been saying for years, that around the corner of this dumpster fire bullshit is a golden age.
Yes.
What I'm calling the soaring 20s. So we're going to.
I think you're right.
Where the 20s were supposed to start until these asshats came in and started screwing around with everything.
Yes.
So that's what's really important. I think where we should spend some time. So I'm in. Just let me know.
Yes. All right. Sounds good.
Right.
JP.
Yes.
Good to have you here this morning.
Always
I'm
a
going to
pleasure.
let both you old men go.
All
Because I
right.
got young man dad stuff to do today.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Have a
See you
good
later,
one.
Professor.
Take her easy.
See you, JP. All right, everybody else. Ellie, take us out. Tell everybody, nice to have you here. We'll see you next time.
Long prosper.
Live long and prosper. Try that again.
Live long, prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.